Basically, ultimately, again, since it isn't the consumer that is paying, and it isn't the consumer that decides who gets to stay in business, since the decision comes from above by fiat, you are legitimate medicine, so you can give people heroin. You are illegitimate medicine, so you can't give people a massage and charge them money because that's pseudoscientific. We're just going to stick to the tried and tested method of sticking heroin in their veins as a way to manage back pain. That's why the medical industry looks like it is today. This is why it is such a giant scam. This is why medicine is so expensive in the 20th century when it was never really like this. At the end of the day, there's no reason medicine should be this expensive. It's so expensive because it's so fundamentally corrupt at every level, because at every level, people are protected from monopoly because of the emotional manipulation of the fiat democratic system, wherein oh no, people can't afford to do this, so therefore we need to give more money to the people who provide this so that they can give it at a lower cost, and so let's subsidize them. Let's subsidize insurance, let's subsidize medical equipment, let's subsidize drugs. And so all of those companies take those drugs and take the subsidies and then just keep raising their prices. So things continue to get more and more expensive because there's no competition, because it's all imposed from above, because it's all by fiat. And now people think it's normal that, you break your ankle playing a game or whatever, and then you go to a hospital and you have insurance and you still need to pay $60,000. Why? Are they going to get you a new ankle from scratch? What is $60,000 for? You're going to lie down in a bed for a bit and they're going to cut you open maybe and do something. There's no reason any of this stuff should be anywhere near as expensive as it is, except that the fact that it's all monopolies all along the way. It's all done by fiat. And that applies to the surgeries. But of course, I think the more egregious and most criminal part of the enterprise is the drugs, the drug industry, the legal drug industry. That's the real issue. The drug cartels, the Mexican drug cartels, are amateurs next to the pharmaceutical companies who have networks of millions of dealers in white coats all over the world, required by law to dispense this particular drug to people who show up with particular symptoms, based on studies that were done by the company itself that stands to make billions from the drug, and approved by people who were appointed in the FDA between their jobs at that company. It's the guy who used to be in the company. He goes into the FDA, he approves his own drug, and then he quits the FDA, goes back to his company and sells it. This is how it operates. They call it the revolving door. So all of these drugs are imposed by fiat. They're massively profitable to those companies. And when it does turn out that, actually it turns out that giving heroin to people who have a headache may not have been the best idea, and we've created tens of millions of heroin addicts worldwide. Whoops, let's pay $1 billion fine to the government and to those people. A few $1,000s for everybody who lost their mom or son or whatever. And doesn't matter. We continue to sell more heroin. This is the amazing thing. So now everybody, even in the mainstream, everybody says, oh, well, pharmaceutical companies are so corrupted. The opioid crisis, they did so many bad things. And, in the New York Times, even they'll talk about this sort of thing. Like even the normies, even the most NPC person, even the most trusting, gullible person will accept the fact that the opioid crisis involved pharmaceutical companies doing bad things, but they still are somehow okay with the fact that the opioid crisis marches on and people are still being jacked up on opioid all over the world in insane quantities, and they give it away for free in emergency rooms. Basically, just go and tell them I have anything wrong with me, and I shouldn't be saying this. Don't want to give anybody any ideas, medicine is just to a very large extent a heroin dealing racket at this point. It's enormously profitable for the heroin dealers, but enormously destructive for the addicts.